Welcome back, everybody. This is FPS. Today we're going to talk about how it's too hot to go outside, with a little help from my friends.
Today I want to talk to you about heat. Intense heat. It is getting hot, but not nearly as much as it's getting intense. And here's what I want to show you. So this is where I live in the Santa Rosa area. And here's the temperature forecast. Every day they change it. It's like watching a basketball score as often as they change the weather. The other thing is they're underreporting weather tremendously. You do yourself your own reporting and you'll find 10, 15, 20 degree anomalies between what they're saying is going to be reported and what they're actually reported. And here you can see tomorrow, Sunday, 94, 94, 93. But let's go over to the hourly. Look what they report. 101 on Sunday, 98. All right, so they're saying the high is going to be 94 here on Sunday, but you go over to the hourly and it's telling you it's 101. And we went up to 104 today, and they said the high today was going to be 92. This is the games they're playing with us.
What exactly do you think they're showing you on that screen behind them? If you can pixie dust something, you can hide the method within it. And strangely enough, you're looking at this girl here, what do you see? Nothing. You don't even know what the temperatures are back here. All you see are boobs. Isn't that strange? Because there's a Hegelian dialect to deception. One is, if you up the sexy, it is more than a distraction. It will hide. It will hide if you're in costume, being super cute, super sexy. The more you slut it up, the more effective your tricks are, because it begins with a sin. You're getting the eyes and the man to go, This is at 9 in the morning doing weather on television. You'll notice over here on the side, this is a rather famous incident actually. This woman is wearing a cocktail dress. It's like 9 in the morning. This guy is handing her a coat, part of her own staff, her own production team. And this, of course, is planted to make all the women upset. But this is totally inappropriate clothing. Are you kidding me? What they're doing is upping the sex to up the witchcraft. You start changing what their eyes see. Their eyes start believing what they see is attractive. So you sex it up in order to hide flaws. Like there's flaws in this costume. You can't see them because it looks so perfect. You have to be kidding me. Where are the flaws? Well, here, let me see if I can do it. I'm going to go to her hips. Looks like they might be here, right? But we don't know. There's like a problem back here with the green screen. Obfuscation with witchcraft. We see the same flaw here. And the same flaw here. And the same flaw here. The costume is gender. And in order to make the costume more believable, they make sure they're slutty. Because the easy chicks, they get a pass. I don't know what you call it, but it works. And this reason that this goes on is because the rest of everybody's behind a desk, and this person has to stand up and conduct their witchcraft open-handed. And so when they stand up in front of the camera, all of their proportions are exposed. And so they have to show boobs. Or if they have a really super cute face of some kind, they have to throw you off. On one hand, that's a whole other plan. Why are weathermen wrong? Does it matter? They can't predict the weather because man doesn't control the weather, and we can't predict the weather because we're not in charge of it. Now, when we start to spray and seed some clouds, what comes down is not living rain. It's not living water. It's dead water. It might be water of some kind. But remember that before the flood, it didn't rain. So I remember as a kid in California, we have a nice gentle rain. It would never come in sideways or like pellets or hail even, really. We just got rain, gentle rain. We'd get it. And then when the rains came, it would be like finally, because we didn't have rain for 6 or 7 months. In California, it would dry out up here in like the central areas where it would be kind of half lush and half dry. If you go to Northern California, Oregon, Washington, it's always wet. Washington's getting triple digits right now. Washington's always wet. It's always cool. It's always damp. It's always rainy. By the time you get to the Central California, you get the summer where it dries out. Inland towards the valley, the rain will stop in March. And then by August and September, we're talking wildfire season all throughout Northern California. And as you walk in the hills up there in the wilderness, you can smell the grass, the heat of the dry golden grass. It's strange because you think in California you have green rolling hills, but when the skies go really blue and it's all warm and it's summertime, the hills go gold and, kind of dead and dry. And then by the end of summertime, you can smell the trees, you can smell the leaves, you can smell the oil and the sap. It's like hot, it's dry, it's ready to burn. We need rain. And then the clouds will come. And then the rain will come. And then it'll go away. It won't come back till January or February or March. And it'll rain for like 2 or 3 months. And wet everything down. Snow in the hills or in the mountains. And get everything ready for a whole year again. And these are seasons. They've never changed. This is the function of seasons. The rain that comes down now, as it always has been from God, is pure H2O. You collect it, there's nothing in there but H2O. It's precipitation. It's God's earth, our giant terrarium, precipitation. It's distilled. Same as that process, except that that's our recreation of the experiment. When you think of gravity in the solar system, can you recreate that whole thing on your desktop? Well, you could recreate a terrarium. You can recreate the rain. And what will rain in there is pure H2O. The basic function of it. Water has that restore function where once you boil it off, the only thing that goes up is water. And if you can condense that, the only thing that will come down is water. So we've always collected rainwater to drink. And if you go just Google image of communities around the world, you'll see on their rooftops are all these buckets because the world collects rainwater. You can't do it anymore in California. It's against the law because they want us drinking from the tap. Same thing about why is it illegal to transport raw milk across state lines? They don't want us to have access to stuff that's off the program. And the meteorologist knows that God's always brought the rain and thunder and lightning. Do you know that in the Bible it says that thunder and lightning and rain are blessings from God? Well, of course. God thunders when he speaks. The thunder is to remind us of God's creationary power in him. And it's a blessing when we hear it. Same with lightning and rain. And the weatherman gets us to curse the rain and curse the thunder and curse the lightning and curse the wind and curse the tornadoes and hurricanes and curse everything God does. Earthquakes. That God judges us by certain things that only he can have control over. And we're totally disassociated from that because we click on the TV and we think somebody has a satellite that tells us when or something is. Yet even though we know he's never right, we still say we can do it and it's ours. No, dude, weather is totally natural and it's scientific. We can totally explain it, but, nobody can explain it. To the point that everyone on TV whose job it is to tell us what's going to happen in the next 3 days has zero credibility worldwide for obvious reasons. Except that we just have this dissonance of belief in science. And really what we're looking at is these people, they're open witches. They have to come out from behind the desk and stand there to the eyeball. Like they can't. They're so mad that I'm talking about this right now. Just basically undressing them. They have a dual. When I say that they're the most open-handed witchcraft, everybody is conducting witchcraft. But these people have to up the sex because of their exposure. They have to fortify the deception because it's very easy to detect. This is like wrong behavior. A woman wouldn't act like this. If you remember women's lib and they're like, oh, I can pull my boobs out now. It's like, well, that's kind of the opposite of it, actually. I remember. It was so that they wouldn't be forced to wear a cocktail dress at 9 in the morning to have a job. Like, well, no, we're going to choose that as freedom. And then we're going to be super hot, sexy. And you can't even watch TV in the morning and get your news without being tempted towards fornication. Every single one of these newscasters, even when they're back here, they're doing the same thing. They learn how to talk with their mouths, all cute. It's all a character. It's playing on sex. Except they need less of it because they have help in the set. They have help in the lighting, the stability of the camera angle. But when you step out and you got to do all your witchcraft, okay, so when she's sweeping her hands across the country, all these people are going with her. It's a big spell cast. Weathercasting. Now, you know that they don't have any control over it, neither do we, but the point would be that they're getting people in all these areas to just sweep along with some BS about satellites and a spinning globe and predicting weather and wanting it to be like this when it should be like that and not accepting what's given to us. Total disassociation from the machine, from our role in it, from our place. And sexed up beyond belief every day. Every day super sexy. Getting sexier. Right in the morning. First up. There's dresses on here. If you see a girl like this, if my girlfriend came out with me dressed like that, that's definitely coming off her. That's what's in her mind. In my mind. When I see that as a man. She's like, I don't want to wear these clothes. I'm going to go out with you in public like this. And then we're going to go home. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Except that this is, distraction. It's obfuscation of the form. It's a costume. She's acting. She's playing a gender role. And she needs this. Or you won't believe. You'll see it. The proportions have to be changed to the whole eyeball. So this standing is all coached. And they're there, half coached in to do that. And then the other side is what they really do, which is cast spells. And where do they get their spells? Well, this is a whole, national oceanic aggravation meteorologist at the team witchcraft level. Look, meteorologists predict rain for the rest of the week. It's just an open joke. They don't predict anything. We don't ever call anything a meteorologist. 1800, 1850. We just made it up. It's a modern television witchcraft, druid sorcery. And now that the weather's actually going a certain way, they've got us all spun around. These numbers are being changed every day. It's not even accurate. They're underestimating the heat by 5-10 degrees. And they get to be wrong. And they're conditioning you to understand not what the weather truly is. You go outside and you're like, no, dude, the weatherman said it wasn't this hot today, so it's not that hot. It's witchcraft. That's not capable without pixie dust. So that's my thing on Weatherman.
So the other thing I wanted to do is talk to you about how I did this measurement on this device here. And this is the simple device I use, $15 on Amazon, Walmart, you can get it I think for $12. It's a thermal laser gun, measures temperatures. And I went back to the restaurant my sweetie and I had lunch at yesterday just to show what was going on, same as today. And so let's take a look. The restaurant I'm taking the measurements of, and if you look down the road you can see dead trees all over. I've been talking to people, show it to them. The first thing they say is the machine must be broken. It's not. Die-off is going everywhere. This is why Trump is making all the noise about North Korea and Syria and ISIS, and now about the sheriff Apriano giving him pardon for arresting immigrants. It's all theater to take our minds off and away from what's happening in New Orleans, in India, the Luciferian heat waves going on in Europe that's not being reported, and the intense weather going on everywhere. You feel it. Wherever you're hearing this, you feel the intensity of the weather. Truth.info. Today's subject is as deep and as dire as it gets. The UV indexes are being recorded above EPA estimates. They're not even registered on the scale the EPA is registering. Please watch this video for the UV index just going off the charts and killing all life around Earth.
Look at the UV from Southeast Phoenix. It's like 12.48 in the direct sunlight with no clouds. And what's odd is supposed to be like a high tomorrow in the 70s.
Many people have felt how warm the sun feels on their face, and some think it's their imagination, but it's not. So today I want to show UV meters that show how high the UV
down in Australia, large sections of the Great Barrier Reef. You know what, guys? That's UV. Here's another thing, sunburned whales, but it's UV penetrating. It's burning. It talks about large sections of the Australia Great Barrier Reef is now dead. Well, check this out. Fish are getting skin cancer down at Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Well, why are we still talking about the warm water, connecting the dots that it's got to be the UV if it's...
Also sunscreen lotion, which we're going to get into now. Sunscreen is a dangerous, dangerous product, including nanoparticulate matters that are getting into the coral reefs and helping to destroy them as well. And if the sunscreen is that powerful that it can get down and change the effects of the mighty coral reefs, what do you think it's doing to our children when they lather with it all the time in the particulate matter? Let's get into it more. Sunscreens are dangerous, folks. Please, please listen. Intestinal tract, although there are no studies to suggest that consumers swallow enough zinc oxide or titanium dioxide to pose a concern.
Home to some of the most beautiful, pristine forests in the world. But the shades of burnt gold and reds aren't the changing tones of autumn. They're dead and dying trees.
We're looking at tree mortality over a scale of tens of millions of hectares in the last decade alone.
In fact, right across the globe, there are reports of trees dying in mass numbers. From Europe, from Africa, even right across the Amazon, and right here in Australia. Summer provided an ideal feeding ground. This big eucalypt took hundreds of years to grow and died in just a couple of weeks. In fact, nearly every tree you see here died suddenly and at the same time.
Last summer was the hottest, driest period on record, and we had some 122 days with no rain. We had weeks with over 42 degrees, and we started to see large areas just collapsing and dying.
Leaves are solar panels. They
Across the western US, tree death rates have more than doubled in the past few decades.
Where I work in northern New Mexico, we see everything from grasses and shrubs to trees dying.
Die-off events are quick and dramatic.
So what we're seeing in these forest die-off events around the world are trees passing the tipping point of stress, the thresholds of mortality. Unfortunately, we don't know very much about these thresholds.
Yet another atmospheric river ripping through California. Record waves at over 32 feet on Monterey Bay. Record snowfall across Squaw Valley, now even beating the 1980 totals. Rare atmospheric lightning over San Francisco. And how the news always explains these rare events is, it's not unheard of. Well, yeah, not unheard of. We had to go back to 1862, looking at this kind of flooding. Drought, NOAA predicting intensifying drought through 2017, continuing or worsening drought, but suddenly the reservoirs refilled.
Though they were empty for 5 years, now they're over full, and our record snowpack that's melting at a record rate because of the record heat has nowhere to go. California is going to be underwater like the rest of you.
So the collapse in California off the coast has been especially devastating and is the canary in the coal mine for the entire world. So I want to go through the collapse that's been going on the past few years here, specifically in Northern California. The kelp forests have just collapsed in a matter of a couple years. This is an article from the local Press Democrat from April 2016. Large tracts of kelp forest that once blanketed the sea off the north coast have vanished over the past 2 years. Here's this word again. The unprecedented collapse has been observed along hundreds of miles of coastline from San Francisco to Oregon. Scientists have described the landscape left behind as urgent barren. Now, this is over to Global Research. This is March 24th, 2017. It's an updated article. The ocean is dying. Marine and animal life die-offs California coast. And you can read the sad, ugly, terrible here, End Times Prophecy. I'm not wild about the site, but they do have an ongoing list that you should be checking out. It's under n-times-prophecy.org. I'll include